Raising my abuser's baby is ruining my life. When I, 22F, was 17, my abuser, 25M, got me pregnant. At first I was incredibly happy and excited. I had an idealistic view of domestic life and family and was convinced he and I would be happy and in love forever. Somewhere along the start of my second trimester, my feelings shifted. I began to bring up adoption. It hit me just how big of a sacrifice having a child would be and just how unprepared we were. He wouldn't hear of it, of course. At this point, his mistreatment was still covert and he was good to me probably 90% of the time. He told me it was normal to be nervous and that we would figure it out as a team. The rest of the pregnancy, I alternated between excitement and doubt. After the baby was born, it all came crashing down. I broke down multiple times in the first few months of her life, sobbing to him that we made a mistake keeping her and telling him it wasn't too late to give her up for adoption. He wouldn't hear of it and insisted it was all PPD. The abuse escalated rapidly after her birth. I was living almost an hour from family, not working or going to school, and he became increasingly violent. After over 2 years, I finally left, and we went no contact shortly thereafter. At that time, I was deeply attached to my daughter and extremely protective over her. He had hurt her, and I carried immense guilt and shame that I had allowed that to happen. I got diagnosed with multiple mental health disorders and got medication and therapy. Both have been marginally helpful, but for over a year now I look at her and feel somewhere between nothing and resentment. My life will never look the way I envisioned it because of her. I will always be tied to a man who was abusive in every sense of the word. I didn't want her, he forced me to keep her, traumatized us both and then left me to clean up the mess he made. I hate him for it, and on some level I think I hate her for it, too. She's just a child and doesn't deserve it. I'm hyper-aware of that and do everything I can not to let me feelings blemish her childhood. I practice gentle/respectful parenting and am a very doting, involved mother. She's in kindergarten now and I recently got a new job that allows me to be home with her more as I know she needs her mother to be more physically present than my last job allowed. I enrolled her in Cub Scouts and am intending to become a parent volunteer. I communicate regularly with her teacher and am looking into getting her a reading tutor as it seems she might have inherited her biological father's dyslexia. I do all of it, and I resent all of it. I resent that all of my money and time goes to her. I resent that I have to make so many sacrifices for her. I resent that while I'm in college, I will never have a normal college experience. I resent that my first experience with motherhood, something I always desperately wanted, looks like this. I have thought about dropping her off with my sister or parents and disappearing, whether to another country or the next phase of existence, more times than I can count. The idea is still massively appealing and has become a fantasy I escape to when parenting is particularly exhausting. I would never do it. She's just a child, and her existence isn't her fault. I know that this is my fault for not putting my foot down and seeking a termination or insisting on adoption. I know this is my fault for dating her father in the first place. There's times I wish I hadn't survived living in that house with him just so I would not have to live the rest of my existence raising her. This isn't fair, so I hide it. I lie. The only person on earth who knows this, who knows me personally, is my boyfriend. He's a saint for not thinking I'm a monster. I guess being a psychologist helps him understand better. I have tried everything I can think of to resolve this and it feels like dying or disappearing are my only ways out, and I can't ethically do that to my child. She doesn't deserve even more trauma than she already has. So I'm stuck in this life. And I hate it. ETA. I have been in therapy for over 2 years. I've been formally diagnosed with PTSD amongst other things. I'm on medication and am actively seeking more intensive treatment, but I live in an area where mental health care is largely inaccessible.